Okay, so welcome. Today we're going to do some work on our lower back and our core muscles since we've been sitting at desks quite a while, and yeah, using some core strength and releasing the lower back will just be helpful in this time. So we're going to start just by laying down. So slowly just roll your body down with your knees still bent. I'm just going to start here on the floor. Your knees you should be able to touch the tips of your ankles with your middle finger. It's a good distance for your feet. And then just surrender into the mat and notice how you're feeling today. And allow your body to soften. Breathing in through the nose, filling up all the belly, and then exhaling through the mouth. And then one more time like that, breathing all your air all the way down the spinal column, filling up the belly, and exhaling through the mouth. And notice how your spine feels along the mat. Notice your sacrum and your tailbone. Just notice the natural curves off your spine. And then remember to breathe. And then pushing through the feet, we're just going to do a few little pelvic tilts. So as we inhale, we're going to just arch the lower back just slightly. It's only a small micro movement. And as we exhale, we're rolling our spine so the spine is flat along the mat. So it's only really the bottom part of your spine, the sacrum and the lumbar spine, that you see any movement. So it's just tiny little movements here. Inhaling as we bring the sacrum up and exhaling as we bring the spine flat to the mat. We're just seeing how this feels in our body this morning. Trying to synchronize the breath with the movement. And just wake up the lower back. And then we'll come back to a neutral spine, lengthening out one of your legs. And then with the opposite leg, crossing it across your body into a nice little twist and looking over the opposite shoulder. And then just remembering to soften the face, soften all the muscles from your head, down your spine, to your toes. Just breathing into the lower back here, allowing it to release. And then on the inhale, coming back up, and then bringing the opposite leg up to meet. So we've got both legs here, and then dropping the opposite leg down. So now we're going to twist to the other side, looking over the other shoulder. Just breathing into the lower back, just relaxing your shoulders as well. And remembering our breath, breathing in through the nose, filling up the belly, and exhaling, releasing any tension as we release all of the air. And then on an inhale, coming back up to meet. legs up in a 45-degree angle. Oh, then we're going to waken up the spine, the core a bit, and we're going to just like drop the knees to one side and engaging the core muscles as we do this, but not touching the ground. We're just hovering just above the side, and then we come up back to the middle. And then we drop to the other side as well. And then we come back up to the center. And trying that again, we're just like dropping down to one side, using the core muscles, and then engaging the core again to come back up to the center, and we drop to the other side. And now you can continue this movement, or if you want a bit more heat, you can drop your knees, and then when we're hovering down, you can extend the legs out, and then come back in to bent knees, and then return back to center. And then we drop the knees slowly again, hovering above. Option to stay here and hold, or extend the legs, and then coming back. Keeping a nice slow breath as we do this. One more time on each side. Dropping, holding, and extending. And then coming back. Just taking the option that feels good for your body today. And once you've finished an even amount on both sides, come back to the center with our knees bent. And then we're just going to drop our feet back down. And again, notice how our lumbar spine and our sacrum feels. Maybe do a few little movements here. And then we're going to slowly peel off each vertebrae away from the ground, lifting up our hips up to the sky. Lifting up the hips, strong foundation in our legs and our thighs. And then as we exhale, we're just going to roll the spine back down, vertebrae by vertebrae, peeling back onto the mat. Then trying to connect every single part of the spine, even the lower lumbar spine and the sacrum, all the way to the tailbone. And then we inhale, we start our breath, and then our movement follows. Each little part of our spine slowly peeling up, hips coming up to the sky. And then we're just going to hold it here for a breath. Keeping strong in the legs, and remember to relax the face at the same time. And then on your next exhale, that's when we can slowly release the spine back down. Each vertebrae connecting to the mat one by one. The slower we do this, the more engaged our core is. And one more time like that, slowly peeling off. And then we're going to hold at the top. You might want to now pull the shoulder blades under a tiny bit more, and you might be able to get a tiny bit more height, but listen to your lower back. We don't want to put any pressure on it unnecessarily, so listen to how high you can go. And to get the extra height, you can bring your shoulders underneath. Holding strong in the legs, pushing into the earth with your feet, and relaxing your face and your eyes and your mouth. Remembering to soften the breath as we hold the pose, and on your next exhale, wherever that is, That's when we start to release the shoulders and then the top of the spine, slowly, slowly coming down with time. Our middle spine, and then our lumbar spine, and finally our sacrum. And then coming back to a neutral position on the mat, we're going to lift up our feet again, so our feet are at a 45-degree angle or 90-degree angle, and our hands are going to come behind and up, stretch up behind our body, and then interlacing the fingers, we're going to just cradle our head and our neck here to protect it. We'll just breathe in normally here, and we'll exhale all together. And then on the next inhale, we're going to come up slightly to a little bit of a crunch, and then twisting across our body. That's it. And our hands are just here just to protect our head, and then we come back down and we exhale. And again, we inhale, and we're going to go to the other side now. Exhale, looking across the body, and then coming back to center, and then release. And we'll try one more time. Inhaling, coming up. Elbow comes across the body to the opposite knee. And then exhaling, coming back to center, and release. And inhaling, opposite side, coming up, looking across the body. And then coming back down, and release. And if you'd like a tiny bit more heat, you can drop one of the legs when you do this. So inhaling, dropping, and then you bring it to the knee, and then coming back, and the leg comes up, and exhale, dropping back down. Nice and slow breath. Inhaling, dropping the leg, and bringing the elbow to the opposite knee, and then coming back. And you can still stay in the first option that we did, keeping the knees together. Inhaling, coming back up, dropping the leg, opposite elbow to knee, and then back to center, exhaling and drop. And one last one. Inhaling, dropping the leg, opposite elbow to knee, coming back to center, and release. And then releasing our hands out, and again just maybe swaying our hips from side to side, feeling the burn in our core, and then remembering to breathe deeply through the nose and through the mouth, just rocking softly from side to side. And then bringing our knees just slightly into our chest, not all the way, just a tiny bit. And then circling here on our sacrum, just making tiny little circles. So we're not in a full tuck, our knees are just slightly up. And then we're just going to rock and roll back and forth, massaging our spine. Back and forth, slowly up and down, until we arrive in a cross-legged position. And then we're going to come forward into a tabletop. Wherever you are on your mat, try and come back into the center. Hands directly underneath your shoulders and knees directly underneath your hips. A nice strong position here. And inhaling, dropping the belly, looking forward, and exhaling, pushing through the spine, exhaling all the air. And just notice the movement of your spine here. Try and keep nice fluid movement, noticing how the top of the spine moves, how the bottom of the spine moves, what is leading each of the movements. Again, just remembering to breathe. Inhaling as we drop our belly and look forward, and exhaling as we push away and curl the top of our spine. And then I'd invite you to do some free movements. You can continue the cat-cows, or maybe you want to have a bit more variety in your movement. Just do what makes your body feel good today. Whilst remembering to breathe and synchronize the movement. Just seeing how the lower back and the core's feeling, tuning in. And then we'll return to a nice tabletop position, making a really strong foundation. I'm going to push through the right hand, nice and strong, push through the left hand, and then push out the right leg. So, nice and strong. And then pushing our heel towards the back of the room, nice calf stretch. Remember to breathe. And then we're going to bring our leg up, pushing through the right hand, and then left hand comes up. And we're going to balance nice and strong here on our opposite hand and opposite shin. Balancing here, using the core, and then stretching and reaching on the inhale, and on the exhale, elbow comes towards our knee. We do a tiny little crunch here. So we're trying to do slow and mindful movements in between these two positions. The other option is just to stay in this length position here, or we continue to do the crunch on the exhale. And one more, inhaling and reaching, pushing away at the door, reaching towards you, and then exhale, our elbow comes towards our knee. And then we return back to tabletop. And we'll try the other hand again, pushing through both hands, nice strong foundation. Left leg now comes to the back of the room and pushing into the heel, so we get a nice calf stretch. Just checking that our foundation is strong before we lift up the leg. Lifting up the leg, so it's just an extension of our spine, pushing against the door, and then inhaling, bringing the opposite hand. And so just balancing here, using the core muscles, strong legs, strong arms to hold our body up in balance. And looking forward, reach a tiny bit more, and on the exhale, elbow comes to the knee, slowly to touch. And one more, inhaling, pulling and pushing, and exhale. The option is to stay in the other position. That's also okay. And exhaling, last one, to touch the elbow to the knee, crunching all of our air out, and then releasing back to tabletop. And now we'll send our hips back to our knees and rest here in child's pose, releasing the lower back, releasing our head and our neck. And taking a moment here just to surrender, breathing in through the nose and breathing out, releasing anything on the exhale. And then coming forward, back, and then we're going to curl under our toes and hover our knees just slightly above. And then exhaling again. One more time. Inhaling and hovering our knees just above the top of the mat. And then this time we're going to send our hips backwards and up to a down facing dog. Pedaling out the heels. Pushing nice and strong through the arms. So for those that haven't done much yoga before, the common position for people to do is kind of have this more of an arch like this in their body. Yeah. But what we're aiming for is to have more of a straight line between our hands and our hips. So we're trying to bend our knees really generously and push our hips backwards. So, okay, bringing in the left foot into the center of the mat, we're going to lift up the right leg, and this is called a three-legged dog. And then we're going to bring that knee across our body to our opposite elbow, and we're just going to hold here. And then inhale, we're going to come back up. And then exhale, we're going to bring the knee to the center, trying to touch or kiss our knee. Hover there, and then exhaling back up to the three-legged dog. And now we go to the same elbow, bring it to the outside, hovering here, and then exhaling, coming back up, and then releasing back to downward facing dog. And you can come back down to child's pose here if you want a tiny bit of a break on your hands, or you can stay breathing in downward facing dog, up to you, what feels comfortable for your body. And then we're going to come forward again, curling the toes, engaging the core, and sending the hips back up to downward facing dog. This time our right foot comes into the center of the mat, and we lift up our left foot. Three-legged dog. Inhaling, lengthen, and on the exhale, we come across our body to the opposite, holding here. And then inhaling, coming back up. And on the exhale, slowly bringing our knee towards the center, trying to touch our nose, kiss our knee, hovering here, and then exhaling, leg comes back up to the sky. And inhaling outside of our left hand, holding and hovering, and then coming back to three-legged dog. Dropping our leg, and then dropping our knees, and again coming back to child's pose. And then making your way back to downward facing dog, and then slowly walking your hands up, noticing how the hip goes into the hip crease, walking the toes all the way up to the top of your mat in between your hands. And we're just going to release everything here, and grabbing the opposite elbow, releasing the head, shaking the head. Ready to breathe in through your nose and release everything. Releasing the lower back and the hamstrings. And then inhale, we're going to slide our hands up our shins to a half back. Like this, yeah. And then we can hold our hands like aeroplane arms behind, engaging the top of our shoulders up. Just standing here for a moment, looking forward. And then exhaling, releasing again. Touching the earth, sliding our hands back down our shins, and releasing the lower back. And one more time, inhaling, sliding our hands up, our shins. Arms can just stay here. You can rest them here for a bit more support, or you can have your hands in aeroplane arms. Yeah, pulling the shoulder blades down and back, so we're opening up the chest. We're also engaging the core to protect the lower back. Looking forward, remembering to smile and breathe. And then on the next exhale, wherever that is for you, then we can slowly drop our body back down, touching earth. And then hands placed on the ground, and we're going to walk our feet back just a tiny bit and drop our bottom down to the earth. And here we we are just sitting in a tucked position. And for those that have lower back problems, you're going to have your hands hugging the back of your legs. So this is option 1. Try this one first. Chest comes forward, and we're just going to balance here on our sits bones. So this is a boat pose, but this is a good way to do it if you don't have much core strength or you have some lower back problems. So having the hands here behind your legs is a good option. If you feel like this is a comfortable pose for you, you can release your hands, maybe just touch with your tippy fingers. And the other option is to have the full extension of the arms. And a bit more heat is to extend the legs. So wherever you are today, just honor your body and the decision that is good for you. And then the option is to hold your legs, or you can have them free, up to you. And we're going to slowly release our legs and our hands. And then come back up. So it's like a little sit up. And one more time. Coming down. And then we drop our feet. And we're going to roll our spine back down to the mat. And then we're going to bring one of our feet in front of the other knee. So we're like a figure 4. Yeah? And we're going to just breathe into the pose here, lifting up the grounded leg and feeding one hand through in between our legs, and the other hand comes behind. We're just pulling our hamstring at the back of our leg towards our body. You should feel a nice stretch in the opposite hip. This is also nice on the lower back to release everything. If you'd like a bit more of a deeper stretch, you can have your hands on your shin and pull the shin towards your body. So just breathe in here. Releasing the lower back and the back of the hip. Thanking yourself for showing up today. And then slowly release everything. Both feet planted back down. And we'll cross the opposite foot now. Across our knee, so into a figure 4. And then hand comes through our legs and touches behind our hamstring. The outside hand just comes around. And then slowly, with our breath, pulling the leg towards our body. Seeing how that feels on your glutes and your lower back, and if it's comfortable, if you want a deeper stretch, you can hold the shin. And just remember, if we feel any tightness, as we breathe in, we're just sending all of our healing energy there. As we exhale, we're imagining the muscles in that area release and relax. And we exhale out all the tension. And then let's come back, firmly planted on the ground. And we're going to slowly just bring our body to one side, pushing ourselves up and away, and coming back up to a seated position. Or you can stay down and nap here. Have a little snooze before, whatever you need to do. And then sitting up with a nice straight spine, and just feeling the bottom of our lumbar spine and our core, seeing how it feels. Just remembering when we're sitting down working on our laptops that we're seated in a nice position that's protecting these areas, so we're not slouched, and engaging our core and protecting the lower back. Okay, inhale, reaching up to the sky, and exhaling, bring our hands through our center into our heart, opening up our fingers into a little lotus position, so the pinkies will touch and the thumbs will touch, but the other three fingers coming out. And just thinking about something that you'd like to achieve today. So an intention, something that you'd like to release and let go of, something that's no longer serving you. And thirdly, something that you're grateful for. So setting an intention, something to release, and something that you're grateful for. Closing that back up and putting a nice smile on your face and bowing in namaste. Thank you for coming and spending this time to help heal yourself.